A tragic accident stole my sight. Under cover of night, my husband secretly delivered me to his youngest uncle. 5 long years pass. At last, he secured his uncle's support and usurped control of the family. Discovering this treachery, I resolved to divorce him. He pursued me to the airport, where he knelt publicly, begging forgiveness. In the torrential rain, he kowtowed until his forehead was a bloodied ruin. Serena, I was wrong. Return home with me, and I will spend my life atoning for my sins. I believed his words. Returning home, I dutifully played the role of Mrs. Lawson, bearing him children. But when our son was 4, he tragically drowned while playing in the back garden with the nanny's son. In my unbearable grief, I overheard my husband say, "What does it matter if he was my own flesh and blood? After being defiled for 5 years, in my heart, he is nothing more than my uncle's bastard." The assistant chimed in, "Mr. Lawson, with things arranged this way, the world will perceive it as a mere accident. No one will suspect your involvement. Young Quentin has already suffered the indignity of impersonating the nanny's son." Xavier Lawson said listlessly, "Serena Sue is blind. Isn't there a certain pleasure in doing it right in front of her?" The day after our son's death, he feigned a business trip and absconded around the world with the nanny and her son. Clutching Carlos's cremation urn, I boarded the plane. This time, there would be no return. Alone, I carried my son's cremation urn home. My tears had long since run dry, and all faith within me seemed to have been extinguished with Carlos's passing. I arrived home, a mere shadow of my former self, and encountered Xavier Lawson's mother at the gate. She stood there, berating me as if nothing were amiss. "Only because you once aided Xavier have I permitted you to remain as the young mistress of the Lawson family. As a blind woman, you should not demand so much. A mere boy, you treat him as if he were a treasure. What can he possibly do? Inherit the Lawson family's legacy? Hell, only marry and bring in a wife when he's older anyway. It's better he's dead now. You can always have another child. A daughter, with Xavier, Serena Sue. Mark my words, if you fail to produce a daughter, you will be out of here sooner rather than later." I gritted my teeth and said, "Mother, Carlos at least called you Grandma." She sneered, "Grandma? I never consented to that appellation. I told you long ago, the Lawson family requires a daughter. I will not acknowledge a grandson." With that, she turned and departed. I had always believed that, because Carlos was a son, even Xavier Lawson kept his birth a secret. He used to explain that he did not wish to displease his mother. Now I understand that he simply despised and suspected him. For years, I have almost unconditionally acquiesced to my mother-in-law's desire for a daughter. I would endure even the most bitter folk remedies for half a year without complaint. I would not refuse even if the sorceress my mother-in-law summoned instructed me to take month-long cold baths. The senior expert suggested testing new medication, and my mother-in-law insisted I participate in the trial, to which I acquiesced. I merely desired a better life, a healthy environment for Carlos. Unexpectedly, my repeated forbearance was met only with their scorn and disdain. I remained silent, attempting to enter, when I abruptly tripped. The cremation urn slipped from my grasp, shattering upon the floor and scattering its contents. In a panic, I reached out blindly, desperate to gather the remains, as my hand closed upon the cold ashes. The servants' mocking laughter echoed around me. I always knew it. A blind woman, deluding herself with the notion of being the young mistress of the Lawson family. She clearly lacks self-awareness. I'm dying of laughter. She fell flat on her face like a dog eating filth. She probably still doesn't know who tripped her, does she? Crystal even spat in her porridge before, and she still ate it with relish, didn't she? Due to Xavier Lawson's neglect, even the servants now dare to treat me with contempt. He forgets that he was the one who begged me to return. Seated on the floor, I groped about, carefully placing Carlos's ashes into the cremation urn. "Carlos, your mother has failed you. I did not protect you. It is my fault. I trusted the wrong person. I will not let your death be in vain." I arranged Carlos's cremation urn and slowly felt my way upstairs. Then, I retrieved my phone and contacted a lawyer. "Please draft a divorce agreement with Mr. Lawson for me." After hanging up, I sent Xavier Lawson a message. "Let us divorce." The next second, Xavier Lawson called immediately. "Serena Sue, what is the meaning of this?" I could discern the displeasure in Xavier Lawson's tone. His vexation stemmed, no doubt, from my interruption of their family trip. In essence, "Please return as soon as possible to finalize the procedures." He snorted coldly. "What is the meaning of this outburst? Do you find it entertaining?" As I have explained, Pressing company matters necessitate my departure. I have no alternative. If only I could luxuriate at home as you do, I too would gladly forego work. I vow to return home and be with you the moment my obligations here are fulfilled. Is that acceptable? Before he could complete his sentence, a young boy's innocent voice echoed from the telephone. Mommy, Daddy, I wish to ride the roller coaster. Quickly, quickly. Let us all ride together, please. Xavier Lawson ended the conversation abruptly, stating, I have matters to attend to. Goodbye. The call terminated abruptly. The incessant busy signal echoed in my ear, yet I was already consumed by inconsolable weeping. Had Carlos lived, he would be here, playing joyfully, teasing me, showering me with affection. My Carlos, so thoughtful and obedient, knowing of my blindness. He would unfailingly take my hand and guide me. Each time, he would remind me to be careful. Each time he would insist I touch his face, so I would remember him. But I shall never feel his touch again, for 2 days. I clutched Carlos's cremation urn in bed, before finally venturing out to lay him to rest. On the day of the burial, a torrential rain began to fall, as if even the heavens themselves wept for him. I arrived home completely drenched. Familiar sounds of joviality drifted from within the house. Daddy, Daddy, hold me. Quentin wants to be held. Crystal Lee's voice, laced with laughter, said, All right, your father is tired. You've been clinging to him for days. Don't ask him to hold you anymore. Xavier Lawson, overflowing with affection, replied, Okay, Daddy will hold you. Daddy will lift you up high. The living room erupted with even greater merriment. My mother-in-law's voice joined in, cautioning him to be careful not to fall. When Carlos was still alive, Xavier Lawson almost never smiled at him. 4-year-old Carlos would stand on tiptoe in the entrance hall, waiting for his father, clutching cold biscuit crumbs and muttering, waiting for Daddy to praise my good work. When feverish with a cold, his face flushed red, he stubbornly clung to the study door, crying, Daddy, hug me, only to be met with Xavier Lawson's impatient, Don't be noisy. Even on his grandfather's birthday, he tremulously presented a small clay figure he had made himself, only to be frightened by his grandfather's disgusted look, causing him to drop it. His tears fell into the broken clay. I clenched my fists and strode into the room, the cheerful laughter within abruptly ceasing. Xavier Lawson cleared his throat, his tone laced with condescension. Serena, to atone for past regrets, I intend to acknowledge Quentin as my son. Do as you wish. My voice was devoid of emotion. Crystal Lee, teetering on her stiletto heels, stepped forward with feigned concern. Then thank you for your magnanimity, sister. Please take care. Given your blindness, it would be prudent to avoid wandering about unattended. I disregarded her and walked past. My mother-in-law's sharp voice cut through the air. Serena Sue, did you not hear Crystal speaking to you? Why are you ignoring her? Apologize to me at once. When Carlos met his end, did you, as his mother, bear no responsibility? Apologize? I sneered, my nails digging deep into my palm. The one who owes an apology is right here. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through my knee. Quentin Lee's clear voice dripped with malice. Bad aunt, I'll beat you to death for bullying my mommy. If you have nothing kind to say nothing at all. I seized his wrist, my blood surging. Did you push Carlos into the water? Tell me. The little boy's wails echoed through the living room. Xavier Lawson approached and forcefully shoved me aside. The back of my head struck the sofa's edge, and warm blood instantly trickled down my cheek and into my mouth. Serena. His voice was suddenly laced with anxiety. I know you grieve, as do I, but fear not, for even without Carlos, I shall surely sire another child with you. Wiping the blood from my face, I gripped his suit jacket tightly. Xavier Lawson. Do you recall the venomous oath you swore in the rain that day? He swore that if he ever betrayed me again, he would be struck down by the heavens and suffer a wretched death. Serena, please, calm yourself. If you're truly heartbroken, you could always treat Quentin as if he were your own son. I shoved him away. Get away from me. I turned and walked straight out, unwilling to look at any of them again. Xavier Lawson, consumed by rage and shame, shouted, Serena Sue, you stop right there. As I reached the entrance hall, my mother-in-law scoffed with contempt. Not only is she blind, but now she's lost her mind. How will she ever survive without the Lawson family? Xavier Lawson's voice echoed from behind me. Serena Sue, where will you go once you leave this place? Return to me this instant, or never dare beg for my return in the future. Once more, I visited Carlos's grave. I spent the night sleeping by his graveside, The following day, the lawyer arrived, informing me that the divorce agreement was prepared, having signed my name. I requested he undertake 3 tasks on my behalf. The lawyer, upon hearing my requests, was aghast. Madam, are you certain? I nodded, and then returned to the Lawson family estate. Xavier Lawson, upon seeing my return, offered only a cold sneer and silence. Crystal Lee, with a saccharine smile, instructed a servant to intercept me, subjecting me to her scorn. Well, if it isn't Mrs. Lawson, who intended to leave with nothing, what is it? Could you not endure the hardships of life beyond these walls? The servant's whispered snickers pricked my eardrums like 1,000 tiny needles, each one a searing sting. Xavier Lawson, cradling Quentin on his lap, didn't even bother to look at me as he spoke. I offered you a chance yesterday. Serena Sue, if you wish to return today, you will have to beg for it. I stood at the doorway, my knuckles white as I gripped the frame. I am only here to collect Carlos's belongings, and so, I lowered my head, confessing my transgressions and pleading for mercy. I am sorry, I apologize, I was wrong. Xavier Lawson, is this to your satisfaction? A note of panic crept into Xavier Lawson's voice. Serena, what is it? What's wrong? Ignoring him, I ascended the stairs. He attempted to follow, but Crystal Lee and Quentin Lee restrained him, exclaiming, Xavier, did you not promise to accompany us? Yes. Father, did you not say you would take me to the zoo? Xavier Lawson, his thoughts thus diverted, turned to escort them out, upstairs. I sorted through all of Carlos's belongings. He was a well-behaved child, invariably tidying his own room, touching the objects he had once used. I was once more overcome with tears. As night fell, I departed alone. No servant inquired as to my destination. Their attention was now solely fixed upon Crystal Lee and her son. The phone rang suddenly. Answering it, I heard a somewhat familiar male voice through the receiver. Serena Sue, it is me. I am coming to pick you up now. Xavier Lawson had accompanied Crystal Lee and her son to the nation's largest zoo, situated far from their home. A full 4 days were spent in amusement, and only then did Crystal Lee and her son return, sated with pleasure. Upon his return, he found Serena absent. Initially, he presumed she was sequestered in her room. Grieving for Carlos, however, upon entering her room, he discovered it empty. He then proceeded to Carlos's room. The young boy's room was meticulously arranged, beneath the meticulous order. A certain absence lingered. Xavier Lawson could not discern what was amiss, for he neither knew nor cared what toys Carlos had possessed. An inexplicable agitation seized him. He descended the stairs and inquired of the servant, Where is Madam? I have not seen her, the servant replied. Madam has gone out. Gone out? Where could a blind woman possibly wander? Doubtless, she has gone to Carlos's grave once more. The thought only deepened his vexation. The servant approached and asked, Sir, tomorrow marks the 7th-day memorial for the young master. Shall the house be prepared? Then it struck him. It was the 7th-day memorial for Carlos. Serena Sue would undoubtedly return. She grows increasingly histrionic, creating a scene over every trifle. She even dares to remain absent for so many days. He wonders how long her endurance will last. Arrangements must be made, of course. The servants, upon hearing this, hastened to prepare. Having given these instructions, Xavier Lawson departed for the company, having already neglected much work to attend to Crystal Lee and their child. By the time all was completed, the dawn of the following day had broken. He retrieved his phone and telephoned the residence. Have Madam answer the phone, he commanded. Servant, Sir, Madam has not yet returned. Has not returned? Xavier Lawson's temper began to flare. After hanging up, he could not contain himself and sent Serena Sue a voice message. Serena Sue, I am giving you one last chance. If you do not return, then do not ever return. The message vanished without a trace. Unanswered, Xavier Lawson returned home. It was nearing noon, and the ceremony was about to commence, yet Serena Sue remained absent. He frowned, and with mounting impatience, retrieved his phone to call her. The phone was switched off. How could this be? Today is Carlos the 7th-day memorial. Surely she would not fail to return. Xavier Lawson called repeatedly, several times in succession, but the phone remained stubbornly switched off. He was consumed by a violent rage and smashed the phone in his hand to pieces. Crystal Lee, startled, was about to comfort him when a deliveryman knocked at the door. Mr. Lawson? This is from Serena Sue. Xavier Lawson opened the package to find 2 documents inside. The first was a divorce agreement, Serena Sue's signature was already affixed. Xavier Lawson gripped the document, incredulous that she would truly divorce him. How dare she? Suppressing his emotions, he continued reading. He froze completely upon reaching the final lines of the second document. How could this have happened?